Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. As always, likes, comments, and subscriptions are appreciated. As a bit of a backstory, because I'm certain you can hear it, I got less than 4 hours of sleep last night. I'm not sure why or what's going on, but I don't appreciate it. So if at any point, even more so than yesterday, I sound like I'm a little bit out of it, it's because my brain's not working. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. The news, as always, is completely all over the place. There's a really weird struggle, tug of war that's currently happening across the entirety of the cryptocurrency space. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says Christmas Bitcoin rally imminent, says analyst who accurately predicted the May 2021 crypto crash. Here's his outlook. There's a lot. This is the tug of war that I'm talking about. A lot of people are either on the fence that we are about to move higher, skyrocket, Bitcoin's about to finally make a movement, or the other side is that we have a couple of more months, possibly until next spring when the Fed announces yada, yada, yada. And this is the moment when cryptocurrency prices will move back up. There are a lot of people, especially if you watched yesterday's video, who believe that Bitcoin is getting ready to move, that by next summer, Bitcoin's going to be tenfold, literally tenfold higher. And that by the end of next year, we are going to be in these astronomical number portions of the cryptocurrency space. Here's something, and I love the timing of this, to be completely honest. This is something we were talking about yesterday. The cyclical nature of not only the cryptocurrency market, but a lot of the psychopaths who are leaders in the market and how they get other people to sell their coins and to think that, you know, the end is nigh and all these other ridiculous things. A major capital reset is underway, according to on-chain analytics provider Glassnode. In its week on-chain report on the 5th of December, the firm said the FTX collapse caused, and I quote, one of the largest deleveraging events in digital asset history. Markets have been consolidating just above those cycle lows since the FTX meltdown in early November. Additionally, there has been a slight uptick in on-chain activity, but nothing substantial enough to catalyze larger price movements just yet. Glassnode delved into the magnitude of losses realized by all market participants during the massive deleveraging event. These flushouts are nothing new in crypto markets, and the forced removal of over-leveraged positions is healthier for price discovery in the long term. High leverage is generally unsustainable for any asset class, they said in the wake of one of the largest deleveraging events in digital asset history. The Bitcoin realized cap has declined, such as that if you remember yesterday, all capital inflows since May 2021 have now been flushed out, signaling a capital reset is underway. For those of you who were not here and have no idea what I'm talking about, I was talking about the constant cycles in the cryptocurrency markets. It always works out this way. Bad event happens. You're told to be scared. You actually become scared because you keep hearing and seeing it everywhere, even on normal, if you would call it this way, mainstream media news. Your friends are scared. You're scared. Other people keep telling you to be scared. You sell off your coins. You sell off your coins over the course of a 2-3 week period. Prices keep dropping. At some point, we end up hearing that magically whales, or rich people behind the scenes, they do have a face. Just FYI, these aren't like magical animals who are floating around gobbling up coins. These are actual institutions and banks. All the rich people you heard talking about getting into the market, it's them. So they start buying the coins at a much lower price. We end up hearing that all the people who had over-leveraged positions, or people who recently got into the cryptocurrency market, have sold off all of their coins. How do we know that? Based on the metrics that these companies have. We can also have these metrics as well. It's a little bit more difficult to find, but on their systems, they pay for them. So they have a larger data set. And what it basically says is that, if you look at the screen as well, we can tell when new addresses were created, when prices are going up, how many new people got into the market. This is why a lot of times you'll hear Cardano created 1 million new wallets. It's because we can tell on April 1st, 1 million new wallets were created over the course of the month, etc., etc. We can see this across the entirety of the cryptocurrency space. But now, like I told you, was the next step. And it's, like I said, timing is very funny. In life in general, all the over-leveraged positions and all the new capital inflows that had entered our market during the last bull run up as new people who were not in the market were trying to get in the market to try and make quick, fast, easy money, they've basically all been washed out. Nearly the only people who are left are people who are, it sounds cringy, but are the true believers who've been here for the longest amount of time. Fascinating, right? How things always end up working out this way. The next step, once again, is it might be some type of an accumulation period. We usually hear about this for a month or two. We see that prices are moving sideways. Sometimes they may move up depending on if a larger purchase is happening. Massive amounts of crypto end up leaving crypto exchanges, end up leaving other wallets. They end up moving. They go to cold storage. And then at some point, usually thereafter, we end up moving up in price. It's always the same. It's so sad that so many, especially new market participants, are kind of like always at the whim of these market movements. But the only way that you end up learning, sadly, is by actually being a part of all of this, because this is usually not financial advice. This is usually the time when the smart money, and I'm air quoting to the heavens here, when smart money is usually buying at much lower prices. A lot of people who enter the cryptocurrency market, i.e. the next time prices are pumping and skyrocketing, they buy $200, $300, $400 worth of crypto, expecting it to go to millions, not realizing that you have to be buying $200, $300, $400, $500 and or low thousands every month over the course of multiple months as prices are dropping to be able to make the big money. Here's one of the more popular news stories as well. It was bound to happen at some point. They were signaling something, but it did not take place. It says Bitcoin mining difficulty drops by more than 7% thanks to crypto winter. No, it's not crypto winter. Historically as well, we've seen that Bitcoin mining activity usually is the precursor for prices dropping and or prices rising. We've had news over the course of it's been more than 6, 7, 8 weeks at this point that Bitcoin's mining difficulty has been reaching a brand new all-time high every single day. This is usually a signal by the people who are mining Bitcoin. And usually these people tend to be quite rich that there's going to be a massive price movement up. Why? They're plugging in their computers if they believe that Bitcoin's price is imminently about to go a lot higher based off of metrics that they have, or they begin to unplug their computers if Bitcoin becomes unsustainably, the word's not overpriced, what's the word? No longer profitable for them to be able to actually mine the coin. So this was, of course, very, very popular. It says bearish clouds haunt the Bitcoin price rally. Will Bitcoin be stuck under miners' capitulation? Maybe. It really depends. If you've noticed, backing it up, crypto prices are currently down. They're not like dramatically down. They're down 1, 2, 3%. Our normal like down days, nothing too dramatic, but a huge portion of the news was talking about this as if, we had slammed down into the ground price-wise. No, if you've been paying attention to the news for the last year and a half, why are prices down? Yup, you called it. It says for the first time ever, Bitcoin's hash ribbon golden cross has failed. Yeah, because historically, at least the last 14 years, every single time that we've seen people who are mining Bitcoin turn their computers on, it usually is signaling that behind the scenes some massive accumulation is happening, which it has been happening. But usually Bitcoin's price moves up. I think someone's manipulating it, and we're going to go into that as well in this video. I don't know if I have the brain power right now to give you the full me, but it's abundantly clear, at least to me, what's happening in the cryptocurrency space. We've had manipulation in prices before. This isn't anything new. We've seen this in every single market. This is, crypto's not the first manipulated market, especially when it comes to gold, silver, palladium, and or stocks. But as of right now, the globally rich billionaire interest in crypto while this collapse happens is a little bit fishy, at least in my eyes. A lot of the metrics that have usually been spot on, and I don't mean like Plan B's chart. I mean like actual metrics where you can see how many people are using it, the amount of usage, the hash rate, the amount of coins that have gone unmoved, which is also a very popular metric. You can look at the, How many people have diamond hands? These coins, you've seen the articles before. These coins haven't moved over the, 4+ years. These Bitcoin haven't moved in 10 years. These are coins either suggested to be completely lost and gone forever, or people who are planning on holding their coins. All of these metrics were basically giving thumbs up to a price rise. And this is why I find the FTX situation, but also the stock market situation also quite interesting as far as our direct correlation to the stock market all the time, regardless of the actual usage and meaning of Bitcoin, if you can say that. So for those of you who got it, yeah, stocks are down. Why are stocks down? Because we had another earnings call or something yesterday where people basically realized that the economy is still garbage. The Fed refuses to stop raising interest rates. They caused inflation, so we all have to go through it. Companies are firing people. Companies are losing money. People are losing money. Stores are losing money. Stores are firing people. So the stock market, of course, doesn't look good. And on top of that, as that market began to fall, of course, the cryptocurrency market did the exact same thing. At the current moment, Asian stocks, if you will, stocks that are in Asia, are falling as well, I guess on the pretense that they are expecting American stocks to begin falling as well when the market officially begins to open. That's all the price news that we have right now. The cryptocurrency market is down a tiny bit. It's nothing dramatically crazy. Stocks around the world are also down, surprise, because companies aren't earning and they keep firing people because they keep claiming that they don't have enough money and therefore they have to make it up to the other investors by showing that they're slicing off the fat, if you will, to be able to make extra profits for next quarter. So we'll see what happens. Once again, still trying not to hold my breath. I believe me, I know I see the days when the cryptocurrency market is in the green and I'm like, okay, maybe something will happen now. Nothing is going to happen until we hear the Federal Reserve officially announce the first 0.5% interest rate rise. And then once we hear in springtime that they are going to stop. Until then, expect a lot of nonsensical turbulence. I wonder if these people actually have any feelings. And I mean that as far as, look at what they've done to the world. I wonder what this does to them, if anything, at night. To know that they're causing, and it's not just within the US, it's all around the world. These supply chains issues, the inflation being absolutely terrible in so many countries around the world. They are directly responsible for tens of millions of people around the world all losing their job because of this economic situation that could have been completely avoided. But alas, here we are. So that's all the price news. Yeah. Let's move on. In why I think, once again, why all of this was completely orchestrated. I don't know. I can't put the puzzle pieces together. I'm not the Rain Man. I don't have all the answers. But historically before, and I say that because history is a very important metric to look back at to see exactly where we've come from and what other people have done before. Anyway, Goldman Sachs, one of the world's largest investment banks, is looking to spend tens of millions of dollars on crypto firms whose valuations have been hit after the implosion of FTX. This was reported by Reuters. Crypto exchange FTX filed for bankruptcy on the 11th of November, yada, yada, yada. The FTX fiasco was the latest blow to an industry that has seen several high-profile bankruptcies over the past few months. Amid depressed markets, the contagion spread to other firms, including BlockFi. No, and once again, don't listen to any of that. For those of you who also, there will seemingly be a lot of references to yesterday's video. Don't listen to the nonsense, because everyone, all these companies that had no one using them or had very little trading volume are now coming out of the woodworks to tell everyone exactly, how bad the crypto winter has been, and this is all happening because of Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX. No, their companies were garbage from the very beginning, and no one was probably using them. I don't know if anyone was really using BlockFi, whatever the actual case might be. Who actually cares? The point is, everyone keeps trying to blame these things on FTX, knowing damn well that their companies were garbage in the first place. The really weird part to me is the fact that Goldman Sachs and many other companies, pay attention to all the companies who are now announcing this, because we've had this for the last week and a half, who are talking about acquiring other companies that have failed or not doing very well, or people trying to buy the assets from FTX or whatever other subsidiaries that they have. Apparently, there's over 100 of them. Apparently, FTX had 100 companies, allegedly. I don't know. I'm reading online just like you, who had 100 different companies beneath them, under their belt, that they owned, what have you. And now Goldman Sachs is trying to accumulate a large number of these companies. The really weird issue is that the valuations of a number of these companies, and we've seen this before in the cryptocurrency space as well, a lot of times if a company has a valuation of $2, $3, $4, $5 billion, poof, something weird happens, the company ends up failing, the valuation goes down to 25 million, and then companies start buying it, and then of course it ends up going back up again, yada yada yada. And I always find it really weird that when a company is doing too well, they end up collapsing, and then we hear about, oh, now we want to buy assets from them. Goldman Sachs is gigantic. They're almost as large as JP Morgan Chase, if not larger in some sort of ways. I can't give you the exact metrics. The entire really weird part is that normally I would assume that if a company failed, if a subsidiary failed, if it had no point, no purpose, no one was using it, whatever the actual case might be, that you would not want to acquire these things. This is telling me, at least in my eyes, that these companies have had an eye on these firms for a while. They wanted to accumulate them. They wanted to find them. This is why they're all buying them up right now. It's the same exact thing. Earlier this year, we were talking about, remember when Terra Luna, like the original coin, first crashed sometime in spring? And everyone was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Terra Luna's a coin. I don't know why I'm talking in that voice. The point is that Terra Luna was a different coin, and people were like, sell your Bitcoin because Terra Luna is absolutely terrible and all this other stuff. And then we started hearing from all these other companies who were talking about that because of Terra Luna's collapse, that they were buying tons of other companies within the cryptocurrency space. This also ties directly into the fact that a whole bunch of stable coins were decoupling. Stable coins don't decouple by themselves. That's not like a weird phenomenon. We would have noticed that over the course of the last 10 years that we've actually had stable coins. But remember that week where every single stable coin kept on having problems, and two of them had 51% attacks and had all these other protocol damages and stuff like that as well? It's because all of this is happening by some big players behind the scenes. The entire problem with all of this is, for them, is that we have control, and I use that term lightly. We have and / had control over the cryptocurrency space. The idea of a small player, air quotes, like Binance or Coinbase or Gemini or Kraken being in the cryptocurrency space is a threat to not only the old traditional financial industry, but also to the banking industry. Why? Because banks understand the actual value of cryptocurrencies. I don't know if they understand the actual idea of decentralization, but gosh darn it, they want to make sure that they're also on the Bitcoin train as well. Part of the problem is that as a cryptocurrency exchange, when you are allowing people to trade cryptocurrencies through your platform, you get a portion of the slice of pie that is the transaction fees. You cannot do that if Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, Gemini, blah, 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 are doing that. The majority of the volume when you as Goldman Sachs or Fidelity or BlackRock want in on the game as well. So what do? You sabotage. You make sure that things completely collapse, fall apart. You come in, scoop up all the super low valuation companies, and this is how you make all the money. Didn't it seem a little weird a couple of years ago when we kept on hearing, as prices were falling, that all these major companies kept on trying to get into the space? No, absolutely not. This is why the entire idea, what was that Wyckoff chart thing that we had, for those of you who missed it? There was a guy on YouTube who was talking about the Wyckoff chart. It is Wyckoff. I think that's it. I don't know how to spell. He was talking about, there's a traditional chart in the traditional financial world that shows when the big players have gotten into it. Is a series of movements, almost like a dance, not even joking, that basically shows a market going up and a market going down. But in very particular ways, it goes up for a certain amount of time, and on a certain day, it falls back down. It creates a chart. It's called the Wyckoff chart. And he was showing it that the cryptocurrency market, I believe it was last year or the year before, had printed that exact dancing chart as well for the cryptocurrency space, which let him know and let all of us know that the big players are now in the cryptocurrency space. But of course, once again, never forget these words. You don't become a billionaire by being nice to people. You have to step on a lot of people, and you do not, at any point, you can never be worth trillions of dollars unless you've stepped on the world. So when I saw this news that Goldman Sachs is now looking to start, no, first, it's absolute nonsense. Of course, this is all coordinated. Once again, I don't have all the puzzle pieces. I can't tell you how, but it's so abundantly clear because it keeps happening every single time. This also happened in 2018 and happened in 2020. Prices are completely down. They have collapsed. Everyone's in the misery phase of the cryptocurrency market, except for the whales, except for the banks, except for the institutions who keep on announcing that they bought tons of Bitcoin. Remember when we used to have all that news a while before? And I think that they've started hushing themselves more than they did before. We used to have a lot of news that, let's say random number, Bitcoin's price is at 30,000, Bitcoin's price falls down to 15,000. We used to always have companies announcing, we bought 10,000 Bitcoin, we bought 18,000 Bitcoin. I'm sure they're still doing the exact same thing, but it paints a picture of exactly who then owns the cryptocurrency space. From information that I've been able to find myself just from searching for about 9.5 minutes, you can find that there are certain people, single people, who have more than 100, 200,000 Bitcoin. There are individual companies who have 200, 300,000 Bitcoin. When you add all that stuff up, you realize, whoa, out of the 8 billion people on the planet, there are about 32 things or people or company on the planet who have nearly half of all the Bitcoin that's actually out there. They own the market. They don't want us in it. We are not supposed to be in it. We are poor, stupid individuals to them. And you think I'm joking, but this is how it is. This is exactly how they talked about us during the entire GameStop stock fiasco thing that was happening nearly 2 years ago. At this point, when you hear them talking on TV, we're not supposed to be in these markets. It's not for us. We're supposed to have allocations in our retirement funds to these companies, but we're supposed to work until we are 65, 67, 70 years old, and then we can start enjoying life. They are meant to be the market movers and makers. This is why they use algorithms and they have all this other stuff to be able to control the world's markets. It's supposed to just be them. The fact that we are in the market is a really big problem for them, because if Bitcoin does eventually go to $1 million, we also share a portion of that pie. We are not supposed to. We are not the alpha. We are not the elite. They do not see us this way, and they never, ever will. Understand how the world works. It's absolutely terrifying when you actually dig deep into see how these people really think about us, but it's always the same. Anyway, the point is, I wholeheartedly believe this is some kind of setup. Something really weird is happening. Same exact thing where I told you, the entire FTX thing, the movements of the market, the movements of everything that we were told, the people that it wasn't illiquid, that people were still able to take their money out of it, that apparently FTX US people are still able to take their money out of it, even though they have locked people from taking it. It's all something very weird is going on. Like, I feel like we're missing a huge part of the story that we're probably never going to get, because people behind the scenes know exactly what's going on. Anyway, that's the Goldman Sachs is now looking to dig deeper into the cryptocurrency space now that they've probably told people to sell off their cryptocurrency assets news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in the news, it says the United Kingdom completes its plan for cryptocurrency regulations. Can you guess why they're doing it? Can you guess why? Yeah, they said after FTX that things became serious and they realized that they had to start helping people, and they had to be the regulators that they weren't over the last 14 years. The same exact thing is happening in the United States. They mentioned a couple of weeks ago before, remember the first week of FTX? Every single regulator jumped up and said, okay, we now need to regulate. And it's weird that none of them thought of regulating over the course of the last 14 years. But this one event happens, and now they have to help people. Now they have to make sure that everyone's money is safe. No, this is all really weird. Every single part of it. Something very odd is taking place, but this keeps happening over and over. And usually a lot of the times, if not any of the time, we never figure out exactly what's happening with all these things in the cryptocurrency space. All it takes is, remember I told you that fear doesn't last forever? All it takes is prices moving back up and people will forget about the FTX fiasco. By the time we get to February, if Bitcoin's at $29,000 and someone says the word FTX to you, you would push their face away from yours because you don't want to hear what they have to say anymore. You would only care about prices rising. And this is usually where it ends up going. So this was also relatively popular news. There's also a couple of other countries who are mentioning the exact same thing. It's all nonsensical. You could have done this before. You don't care about the actual people living in your country. It has something to do with money. You figured out a very easy way to be able to make these rules and regulations to be able to control people inside and outside of the market, and you didn't do it before, so now you're doing it now. And I hope you actually follow through with it. I hope that you actually make comprehensive laws so that people know how to pay taxes, because governments are completely obsessed with people having to pay taxes, but not giving them laws on how to actually pay taxes within the cryptocurrency space. So do it. Give us rules and regulations. Make the cryptocurrency space extremely safe. Do it now. Do it. You've had 14 years. Do it. What's the problem? What are you all waiting for? All right, that's the UK news. Wow, fantastic, amazing. I love it. Can't wait for more. All right. Jim Cramer is prominently in the cryptocurrency space today, and I'm almost uncertain as to how this isn't some form of insider trading or manipulation of markets. Jim Cramer was recently on some stupid TV show, I don't care what it is, where he was basically telling people to sell their crypto. Yep, explicitly. I believe he said Cardano, Dogecoin, and Shiba Inu, I think those were the coins that he mentioned. He was like, yeah, sell them, sell your crypto because the market's going down, sell your crypto, blah, 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 blah. For those of you who remember the original moment when Jim Cramer got into the market, it was roughly around the same exact time as that sports guy. What's his name? Oh gosh, this really weird, I can't remember the name. Bob? I'll try and find it. It was some sports guy who placed bets on stuff, and then at some point he entered the cryptocurrency market and was talking about that Bitcoin's going to 1 million, and then Bitcoin fell by like 4%. He can Portnoy, whatever that Jim Portnoy, sports Portnoy, whatever this guy's name is, same exact kind of thing. They get into the cryptocurrency space when they think it's advantageous for them, and when they think that they can predict that cryptocurrency prices are going to move back up. At some point, the cryptocurrency market is just not listening to them. The cryptocurrency prices, and I think what it is something for ego as well. I think that they believe that because that they tell other people that they are getting into the cryptocurrency space, that people are supposed to throw their money into the market. It's a really weird thing, but I'm pretty sure it's the same exact thing with Elon Musk. I'm certain. But the problem with Elon Musk is that people actually listen to the dumb things that he says, and people start throwing their money into the market. So Jim Cramer was on TV and basically told people to sell their coins. And this has happened, I think, twice before. He's also told people to buy cryptocurrencies, and this keeps happening in this really weird waved motion. And I'm not sure if it's inverse or if he actually cares. He probably doesn't. If you haven't seen that video from a couple of years ago, it's somewhere on YouTube where he's basically telling someone when he worked for a hedge fund the allegedly illegal practices that he was doing to make sure that his hedge fund ended up coming out ahead, basically scamming and manipulating people allegedly to do his bidding and for the market to move the way that he wanted to do so. So, yeah, this was very popular news. And I think it was popular not because people are realizing that he's full of BS, but I think it's people actually listening to these people. The same exact way, for those of you who don't know, years ago, a lot of people in crypto were listening to Warren Buffett. And I was like, don't. He has no bearing on the cryptocurrency space. He's not in crypto. Tons of other people told you to not get into crypto back in 2012, 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And other people still made money. What? Cryptocurrencies are still around? That's freaking crazy. Why should we listen to Jim Cramer? Who cares? Like, it just makes no sense why these people are famous at all. And usually, like 9 out of 10 times, we end up finding out that these people are scammers, or they end up getting in trouble for some other really weird thing, and everyone goes, what? The person who told us to sell their crypto was a scammer. I can't believe that. Everyone in crypto is so trustworthy. Anyway, that's the popular Jim Cramer news. Sure, why not? I give it, December, January, February, I'd say late February, early March. He's probably going to be telling people it's a really good time to get back into crypto because prices are low and yada, 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 which means that he has filled his pockets and his bags with a particular type of crypto, which he's probably then going to also be announcing on some CNBC show as well. It's always the exact same thing. None of these people, they're not as smart as they actually think that they are. Also, in still popular news, for some reason, I don't understand. Yesterday, there was like people getting fired news, and apparently there are 5 companies today who are also going to be firing people. I'm not going to even say their names because do you need to know? Will this change your life in any way? Are you going to have a happier day when you find out that there were thousands of other people who got fired somewhere on the other side of the world? Probably not. This was very popular news. Also tying into it as well, it says gaming retail giant GameStop yet again lays off staff. This isn't crypto news. Why do people keep writing stuff that has nothing to do with the cryptocurrency space into cryptocurrency news? The name of this website is The News Crypto, but they usually don't give cryptocurrency news. The reason why this is probably in the cryptocurrency news today is because I believe GameStop is using Ethereum, and they're also using Immutable X for their NFTs, and there were rumors that they were going to be launching, I think, NFT or blockchain games at some point as well. GameStop, for those of you who missed it, was nearly bankrupt before. GameStop did not make a glorious comeback. They're still struggling. That's why they pivoted to crypto, which is what most companies do, is they announced that they're going to be using cryptocurrencies and or blockchain as a way to revive their company. For those of you who don't play video games, I do. You buy them online usually sometimes. You can still go into stores. Of course, I'm sure you see the games laying around and people pick up the games, but 9 out of 10 times, I'd rather just download it. So when I take my gaming device, I can, take it with me portably and I don't have to carry like 50 games with me. So many people are buying things from other websites or even directly from the Nintendo store or the, what's the other one? The PlayStation store or the whatever the Xbox store is called. And yeah, so I guess it makes sense that GameStop would still be laying off people because they're probably going broke. I don't know if you saw, and once again, a lot of people don't have money. Money's kind of tight. It's cold outside. People are bracing for winter because winter starts, I believe, December 21st. So there are a lot of people who need to be able to keep the heat on and keep it warm. So they're probably not thinking of GameStop. They're probably thinking of bread, butter, and milk and warm. I don't know why GameStop was also in popular news today or why people keep finding this news interesting in general. There was a whole list of five companies who are laying off people. Does that tickle your fancy? Do you need to know this at all times? I don't know. It's all kind of weird. That's the GameStop news. I'm sure they'll get it together eventually, but once again, nothing is moving. Nothing is moving until the Fed literally says so. This one man, understand this, how nonsensical the future is. One man has to stand at a podium and say that he's changing one number to another. And that gets the economy moving or gets people to sell. 8 billion people are affected by this. Why is this the world that we live in? Not a lot of it makes a lot of sense. That's the GameStop is laying off people news. I'm shocked. Over here clutching my pearls. And yeah, let's move on. Also, in absolutely obvious news, Nexo... It says Nexo claims. They're not claiming. Apparently, Nexo is a crypto borrowing and something in the cryptocurrency space. I assume a cryptocurrency exchange. I'm not really sure. They announced on the 5th of December that they're basically leaving the United States because, right. It also stated that it was halting its products and services in the United States due to lack of regulatory clarity. They basically announced it was somewhere around here that they've been trying to talk to regulators for the last year and a half, and the regulators stopped talking to them. So they were trying to figure out how to use this, how to make this work, how to so and so and so, which is, I'm sure, what other cryptocurrency exchanges are also going through, which is, I'm pretty sure, exactly what Ripple was going through. For those of you who missed that news story, this was months ago. The people from Ripple basically announced that all of their business is now happening outside of the United States. They were like, yeah, we basically have an office in San Francisco, but besides that, we're working all around the world. I believe this is because of, one, stupidity. I think a lot of people who run countries, who run parliaments, senates, governments, are usually quite stupid. And they usually obtain these positions because they know someone already who is in power, or they themselves have enough money to be able to get into power. It's just how the world works. Two, it's abundantly clear that the United States wants to keep the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. This is how you remain in power. If Bitcoin became the new world reserve currency and it somehow usurped the US dollar, the United States would no longer be as popular or as powerful, and therefore this is a problem for people who are in charge. And the other point is, we know that the US is making their own central bank digital currency. And I believe that the people who are in power probably believe that the US digital currency is going to be more popular than Bitcoin. Whatever government people end up thinking, why is there like an 80-year-old person running that country? I don't understand how nothing in the world makes sense. And I'll tell you this right now. I usually tell you to research things. Don't do this one. Do not look into exactly how bad the world is right now. And I mean that wholeheartedly. Don't look into who's running countries, their level of education. It is so depressing when you think of how the world is actually being run. It is mind-boggling. Remember before, when I was talking about in another video last week, how we could live in a literal utopia? I don't know if you saw that video that I posted a couple of days ago on Twitter, talking about we basically have solar powered cars. If you are planning on driving less than 40 miles in one direction and then 40 miles back, you no longer really have to pay for petrol or gasoline anymore. We can solar power our homes. We live in a world where we can live in super abundance, where everything is nearly perfect from the aspect of the current metrics that we actually have. But no, the people in charge refuse to actually give us any leeway, and we continue to trudge through the crap every single day. It's so ridiculous. So of course, not surprised. I don't use a Nexo. I don't know what a Nexo is, but I hope they do well. Wholeheartedly. I have my hand over my heart. I'm not even joking. Do well. I hope when you go to another country or to many other countries that have already given regulatory clarity, I hope you make tons of money, if not billions of dollars during the next bull run. Why? Because for some reason, the United States, and the term is dropped the ball here. I don't understand what their problem is. Can you imagine? Now, here's how I imagine it. That's what I'm going to say. Regulators have been screaming from the top of the mountaintop since crypto got started that it needs to be regulated. It's the wild, wild west. It's terrible. It's all blah, 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 blah. I can't imagine myself as a regulator having a company come to me for 18 months and I give them... Purposefully, I give them no answers. And then they end up leaving my borders to give money to another country. So not only have I lost money, I've lost a company that potentially over the next 10, 15, 20 something years will be making billions in taxable revenue. It just doesn't make sense. I'm not sure what's wrong, but alas, this was pretty popular news. Once again, I don't use Nexo, so I can't tell you about it. But the news that they're basically leaving the United States is popular news, but also unsurprising. Why would you not do that? Why would you stay? Why would you stay? Why would Ripple want to do business anymore in the United States? Ripple also went to the SEC for years. I think it was 3 or 4 years. Constantly went to them saying, please give us regulation. Let us know what we need to do. And then they got sued by them. It's now been a $100 million lawsuit. Can you imagine? No, probably not. All right. That's the Nexo news. Let's move on. Also, in very popular news as well, it says, why isn't Sam Bankman-Fried behind bars yet? Crypto Twitter seems to be losing its ever-loving mind. That's a nice way of saying it. Because once again, there's tons of grown men who are obsessed with Sam Bankman-Fried. If you like him, just send him a message. I'm certain he'll probably answer you back. I don't think he has much going on right now. Send him a text. Be like, hey, bro, what's up? I don't know what people say to each other when they text each other, but there's some type of obsession that a lot of people, because crypto's mainly men. If you've looked at the metrics before, I think it's 99% of guys in the cryptocurrency space. And it's mainly guys who are obsessed with him. So something's definitely happening within the cryptocurrency space and Sam Bankman-Fried. The news is, for those of you not looking at the screen, it says, why isn't he behind bars yet? Do you want to know why? Yep, it says it right beneath it. It says, spoiler alert, it hasn't been determined whether he did anything criminal. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so that was enough people cursing, and someone threw their hands up and someone said, what? I can't believe it, because you're surprised. Nope, you shouldn't be surprised. Why? Because basically nearly everything he was doing actually wasn't illegal. Why wasn't it legal? Because he basically was doing the exact same thing that banks were doing, but he got caught. You know how the idea of there are different forms of rehypothecation, and one of the most popular ones is, let's say that you are a bank and you have $1 million at your disposal. You have a literal $1 million in your hands. You as a bank, especially within the United States and many other countries, are allowed to basically transform every $1 into a $100 bill. How do you do this? Is basically all digital. You can give out loans, you can give out checks, you can give out all these other things because you are not expecting at any given time that every single person who you have lent out money to is going to run to the bank at the exact same time. That's why it's called a bank run. That's why it's always scary for banks, because if everyone ran to the bank to get their money at the exact same time, we would all know that the bank does not have all the money that they claim that they have. This is how banks work. He was also using leveraging. The idea that he created a fake coin basically to leverage the amount that the FTX token had to be able to use that money to buy other assets is exactly what banks do. For those of you who don't know, banks, especially, once again, here we go, within the United States, but it also happens in other places around the world as well. Banks are allowed to create fake loans and also fake money on their computers, on their charts. And what happens is that at a certain point during the course of the year, the bank goes to the central bank or to a central bank in their country, and they say, hey, we made debt in this amount. We need X amount of money to be able to cover that amount of debt. All the money is digital now. It's all created on a computer. Like, look into it. Like, look at how the banking system actually works. So what he did, and by creating that coin and using the FTX token as leverage to be able to buy the home in the Bahamas and all this other stuff. I had a friend who was telling me the other day, hello, person, if you are listening. She was telling me like how shocked she was at like everything that he did. And I'm like, why? And then she got like a little bit riled up. She said, because he did something illegal. And I was like, people really don't know how money works, how banks work. You realize that there were so many banks and corporations who were kind of like still standing on his side. What's that guy's name the other day who was like, yeah, I'd still work with him because he really didn't do anything criminal or wink illegal, because all of these are relatively legal practices. The issue is that when it got called out that they were doing something fraudulent, that every other cryptocurrency exchange is also running on debt and leverage. It's how the world works. The world runs on debt. Find a documentary called "The World Runs on Debt." You'll see. It's not tinfoil hat. It's how the capitalistic capitalistic system is meant to work. It's debt, and then from that debt, you get repayments back eternally. This is why you are told constantly when you walk into Old Navy or any other store to get a credit card, because the idea is you'll buy something, but then you'll give money back on a payment plan. The idea of a mortgage is also the exact same thing. You want to pay back over the course of the next 30 to 40 years. You are giving that bank back money over the course of the next 30 to 40 years. You are a lifelong customer. That's how money works. So everything that he did, while terrible, is nothing new. I said this before. We've seen this before. I have to keep mentioning the exact same things over and over and over because we've seen all of this before. Why do you think he still has so many big players behind him, behind his back, especially in Washington? Because he didn't really wink, do anything wrong. The issue is that his cryptocurrency exchange had a bank run. Everyone got afraid from the first 4 days of the news, and they were taking all of their coins off of the exchange. The idea was, because people kept on saying, let's do a bank run on the exchange because they probably don't have their money, or B, people were like, I need to get my money out of it, but they did have their money. So the bank run was, in essence, unsuccessful, except for the fact that they were located in the Bahamas. For those of you who missed that news story, there was news that there was a hack on FTX. It wasn't a hack. It was the Bahamas regulators who told Sam Bankman-Fried to take as much money out of it as he possibly could to give to the Bahamas regulators. We heard from them explicitly. I went over this in a video. Hello? Remember I keep saying something is very weird? Because realistically, if he had done something terrible or criminal, he'd be gone. You understand my words. Everything is connected in some sort of way. Even if you look at the people who he knew, who he was hanging out with, and I don't mean the Democrats, sit down, like please immediately have several seats. I mean like actual big banking people who are still standing behind him. It's because everything that he did is by the playbook. It's what every other cryptocurrency exchange does. It's what every bank does. Look into all the charges and like what people are saying about him, and then look at that based on the banking system. Did you think that regulators had no idea what he was doing? Of course they all knew what he was doing. It's just that when you look into it, you're like, wait, that shouldn't be the way that money works. It should not be the way that money works. This is why we have crypto. Ding, 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 ding. We finally got there. This is the point of Bitcoin. We're not supposed to have rehypothecation. We're not supposed to have someone having 1 Bitcoin, but they can lend out the equivalent of 10 Bitcoin. It doesn't make sense. This is why everything is transparent on the blockchain. Because the idea is, in the future, if we have banks ever adopting Bitcoin as a standard, we will know they are in possession of 12,000 Bitcoin. They are trying to give loans in equivalency of 144,000 Bitcoin. You can't do that because these are fraudulent loans. We know exactly how much Bitcoin you have. So anyway, there's also news that there's supposed to be like a hearing of some sort in America. This is all done for show. I'm not sure if you understand how the United States works. A lot of it is just one gigantic clown show. Remember a couple of years ago, when we all found out, when we all were made aware of the fact that Facebook was stealing all of our data and all of our information, and they weren't telling us. And a lot of times, if you went through their website and you clicked, I don't want to be a part of this, or stop using this, or stop taking blah, 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 they were still taking it and selling our information and our photos and our conversations to companies. Remember that? Has everyone forgotten? And then Zuckerberg had the same exact deposition where he had to sit in front of Congress and the Senate and basically, I am sorry. I won't do this again. No, I am unaware of what happened. Oh, no. Remember that? That's basically what Sam Bankman's going to have to do. It's basically like the word's not a trial by, I can't remember the last name, but it's basically like a show. You have to show like, oh no, he's in trouble. So then they smack him on the hand. They ask him some very tough questions that he already has the answers to, because that's how they also work. How does no one know how this works? These people are given the question, so they know exactly how to answer, because you can't really surprise them with anything. So their lawyers tell them before exactly what the questions are going to be and exactly how they have to answer them. Why do you think they always know, I'm sorry, I can't answer that at that time? I'm sorry, I'm actually unaware of that. How do you think they know immediately what to say? They're given the questions and therefore also the answers as well. So until we find a smoking carrot, a smoking Dewey Decimal System, a smoking something, and we find out that he did something that was actually criminal, especially within the Bahamas, I'm shrugging right now. So yeah, everything that he did, or nearly everything that we've been told that he did, isn't actually illegal, because banks do the exact same thing. Corporations do like I mentioned this when this first happened. I didn't get why everyone was so up in arms. Like I get the situation. Believe me, I understand. I get it. Stop. I get it. But I was like, this isn't the first time this has happened. No. We've heard this before. No. I'm pretty sure this happens every single time. But when it does happen, everyone goes, oh, did you see that? He's crazy. He's evil. No. It's just he's playing by the rules of capitalism. He's doing exactly what the system says. It's just that he got called out for it. There was a bank run on his cryptocurrency exchange. He filed for bankruptcy when he shouldn't have. And that's where he currently is right now. Yeah. That's the why isn't Sam Bankman freed behind bars news. It's because the same exact reason why the other bankers aren't. Because the public finds out how fraudulent the system is. The public goes crazy, and then they're usually distracted by some other event in the news. It's the same exact thing with the 2008-2009 crisis. Yeah, money's not supposed to be used that way. This is why we have Bitcoin. All right. Let's move on. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Martin Steuer, Bodie McBoatface, Sam Ratter, Dotha Diddy, Manny Cryptos, Crypto Gambino, Auspicious Agile, and Blockchain, Jamie Saad, and let's move on. Empire Queen, Roman Gaba, Bitcoin, Ben Arachno, Dave the Dealer's Den, Captain Something in the Z-Way, Lay, Mobarazi, VB Nerd 21, Lauren De Silva, Quarterbitty, Troy, All Good, Space Case, Need a Miracle, Paternoster, Navarro Williams, Utopia 569, Moonman, High XRP, Nostromo, John Sarson, Yana Marita, Bibliophobia, Adam Graysick, Wise 9 Owl, 24 True to the World, Bankrun Network, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Setsuna, Paxis, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Jester Crypto, Anytime Fitness, Monks Corner Staff, Bake Me a Cake, Tigera, Macho Nisa, and On Crypto with Lionel. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you to everyone who left a like, a comment, has subscribed, or still here listening to me ramble on about the world. A lot of people don't know how the world actually is. Like, they see it just for face value. It's pretty messed up. If you have rose-colored glasses on, glue them to your face so that life continues to remain rosy. Bitcoin is currently down by 1.9%. Ethereum is down by 3%. Dogecoin is down by 5%. DAI coin for some reason is up by 1.69%. Sure, why not? Nothing catastrophically crazy. No coin is down by, I believe, 7 or 8%, 9, 10, 15%. Nope, nothing. Everything is between 1 to 3%. X-Chain on $10 million volume is up by 2%. Yeah. So we'll see what happens as the day ends up going on. Whenever the stock market decides to recover, cryptocurrency prices will recover as well, because all the other metrics don't seem to be working. Like actual usage of the chain and other people turning on their machines and, people buying and hoarding the coins and all the whales buying. There's still manipulation afoot. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, commenting, and/or supporting, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.